Okay, this chapter is over mental health and stress, and I really want to focus on how stress impacts your overall health, your physical health, as well as your mental health. So let's talk a little bit about what happens when an individual is stressed. So you get this fight or flight response. Even if it's short term stress, like acute stress, or something that's chronic, what happens during that fight or flight response is your heart rate goes up, your blood pressure goes up, respiration increases, your digestion slows down because that blood flow is moving from those internal organs out to the extremities, so that if you had to fight or run, you would have the blood flow there to those muscles to allow you to fight or to run. The problem with that is long term, that can actually cause issues. So if you don't know how to deal with stress, you could have some issues that result, health related issues that result from long term stress. So we're talking about chronic stress, and if you don't have any kind of coping mechanism, you can definitely impact your health in a negative way. Let's look at some of these. So you notice this picture here, we've got an individual being chased by a bear. Hopefully your stress isn't at that level. But even day-to-day stress, like dealing with other individuals that maybe you have difficulty communicating with, or people that are just kind of stressing you out, or you just have life events that stress you out, you can still have these physiological changes that occur. Now let's look at some of these. Heart rate. Why is that? How can that impact my overall health if I'm dealing with stress? Well, in the short term, it probably wouldn't cause much of a problem. So if I'm just having acute stress, short-term stress, maybe I'm having problems with my boss, but I don't think about it all through the day, so I'm not angry about it all day long, then it may not cause any health-related issues. But if this is something chronic, where I'm having a problem with it day after day after day, and I continually have these high heart rates, well, think of your heart like a car engine, and the more beats that you put on it in a lifetime, the sooner it's going to wear out. So just like a car engine, if I put too many miles on it, it's going to break down eventually. So I want a lower resting heart rate throughout my life. And if I'm continually stressed out and I have a high heart rate, well, eventually that heart is going to give out or have problems as a result of that continual stress. Let's also look at blood pressure. So if blood pressure increases, short term, maybe not a big issue, but if I have chronic high blood pressure, and this could be as a result of stress or something genetic, it can cause issues internally. It can cause vessels to rupture. It can damage vessels over time. It can do damage to your kidneys. So long term, if I can't deal with this stress and I have chronic high blood pressure as a result, I'm more likely to have some sort of disease result from it, or issue result from it. If breathing rate goes up, that's going to cause heart rate to go up. If heart rate goes up, then more than likely blood pressure is going to increase. So these are all related to some extent. Let's also look at muscle tension. So, if this person is about to have to fight and the muscles are all tense and they have plenty of blood supply to them, short term, maybe that would cause a little muscle soreness after it's all over, especially if I ran away from this bear and I'm not accustomed to running. That's not really a big problem for me long term. But if I have chronic muscle tension, that's going to cause me to be fatigued, tired, exhausted, and that can impact my overall mental health as well as my physical health. So the main thing I want to get across to you is, if you are having issues with stress and it's more than just short term, so it's not just acute stress, it's you're stressed out all through the day, you need to find a way to help cope with it, or otherwise you could have some health related issues as a result. And a lot of people turn to exercise, and probably one of the most common exercises I can think of right off the bat is yoga. So it's a great way to relieve muscle tension, increase flexibility, increase lean muscle mass. Pilates would be another good one, but it doesn't just have to be those types of activities. Just being able to take your mind off whatever's causing the stress will help relieve some problems as a result of it. For some individuals, they like to go out and run. The good thing about running is it releases endorphins, and those endorphins can help give you better mental health. I know some individuals that have chronic depression, and instead of prescribing medication, some doctors will prescribe running, mainly because of the release in endorphins. And as long as that individual continues to run, it tends to work fairly well, and sometimes better than medication. Overall, having chronic stress can impair your immune system. So people that are stressed out throughout their lifetime, have problems finding ways to cope with stress, tend to have impaired immune systems, meaning that they're going to get sick more often, they're more vulnerable to certain illnesses, and have increased risk of cardiovascular complications, increased risk of some forms of cancer, and they may also have gastrointestinal issues. And you're like, well, what is that? What's a gastrointestinal issue? Well, you may have things like ulcers that result in the stomach, causing internal bleeding and other issues. And they may also have mental health issues because they're stressed out all the time and don't know how to cope with it. They may be more likely to have anxiety, more likely to be clinically depressed. So finding outlets where you can relieve stress is extremely important to your overall health and longevity. So in this video, or in this PowerPoint and in this chapter, there's a lot of other areas that the book focuses on, but I really wanted to find a way to talk about stress, talk about chronic stress, and give you some ways to cope with it. So, and exercise is probably one of the best ways to cope with stress. Not only does it improve your physiological health, but it can also improve your mental health. And I've also seen individuals that may have struggled with mental health, the mental health aspect of it. When they start seeing those physiological changes and those physical changes occur as a result of exercise, they just feel better about themselves, and they have higher self-esteem, and they're more motivated to get out and do things through the day, and they deal better with life issues that result. So I hope this helps kind of sum up what I feel is one of the most important parts of this chapter, and I'll see you in the next video.